Good morning. Welcome to the Geo Negative Axis Institute. This is Uddhava Samanich. I think today I prepared the most I've ever, which was only about a few minutes. Just because there's some important topics that I've overlooked. And I wanted to give you a good subject today, something to think about in the GNA book. Sometimes we don't always get that lucky. We get what people want to hear, but let's get some juicy stuff. So today we're going to work on page 156, which is the Geo Negative Axis book, my book, which is Adam's body, atoms, with an apostrophe S, on Earth is objective. Adam's body on Earth is objective. Not atom, but atom, A-T-O-M. So actually the subject today is about atoms, believe it or not. So it says, light holding its grace is a bit different than air, as air is more self-giving, more subservient in the terms of existence. This is how we know it is also superior, because air will go anywhere and everywhere through anything. Light, however, will stop, depending on shade or a block of light that passes along. The block of light to reach beneath an area is descriptive with light and makes it harmonize atop existence. The block of light to reach beneath an area is descriptive with light and makes it harmonize atop existence. Light will only come atop an object. It is therefore the object of all objects. If you came in my path and obstructed my walking, it may seem like I am now your subject, but you desiring to stop my path made me your object of interest. Therefore, light by nature is stopped by a blocker making a shade, and that is why it is objective of circumstances. In that it doesn't accommodate and has its own nature and remains, giving light according to its said dispensation. Just like in a room, if the light shines through the window obstructs the exact temperature. Still, light penetrates even through the temperature, and it can be different, as it can become cold even by controlled methods of technology. Light is the element in itself that is giving and nurturing and unites our brains. Even if we don't sit in front of the sun, likewise its rays affect us and make us the way it wants accordingly. So basically what that says is light doesn't stop for anyone really, but what it does is it'll keep going under on its own accord. So it's not like it'll bounce that way, it'll go that way. It keeps moving basically. So it doesn't stop, but it bounces or it goes under. Some of it, the energy-wise, goes in, we understand. And that's the Geo Negative Axis. That's part of everything. That's part of every piece of matter in this world. So we need to understand that Earth has a set marking, a set way of existence, and air is inferior to that, because air, it basically will go anywhere it is pushed to, or it pushes itself into, right? It'll go into the cracks and anywhere it can fit in. Air is very interesting like that. But light, as we see, has its own objectiveness, has its own thing, and whereas it's basically like if you go anywhere, do anything, then that means you're a bit under something, right? Whereas if you have a set dispensation, you're going to go your own way, or you're going to do your own thing. So then you're more objective because you're doing your own thing, right? So you have to see light is objective. So it's a little bit maybe a little hard to understand, but I try to make it easy in this book. So that's why the book is good, because it makes science easy. A lot of people can't understand science. Then we're going to go to Srimad Bhagavad Gita, and we're going to go into the similar subject matter. So I found a really good verse here. So it says basically, Rasoham Apshu Kauntaya, Prabhasmi Sashi Shuryayaho, Pranavaha Sarva Vedeshu, Shabdaha Ke Parusham Nishu. This is a verse 7-8. Can't forget that. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. So just remember, 7, 8 Bhagavad Gita. This is one of the most important verses to science, because this is actually where they found ether and sound. So it says right here, O son of Kunti, I am the tasting water, the radiance of the moon, and the sun, the light. The word Prabha is here. And the syllable Om in all Vedic mantras. I am the sound and ether and the ability in man. So it says K, ether, in. This is how we understand ether is part of the Geo Negative Axis, the sixth element. Because he doesn't say I am ether, he says I am the sound in ether, which is the ability in man. So ether is there as also a kind of a substrate, right? So if we don't, basically like how recycling works. So if you put things that are all materials together, right, and you destroy their existence, and you boil them down, you don't give them an ether existence, but you give them kind of an ethereal existence, because now they can be changed into anything. So ether is kind of like that. Ether is like the end of something, but if that thing is eternal, that end will bring upon a new existence. And that's how energy works, actually. So, or existence in general on this earth works that way. Like if a piece of clothing, for instance, right, it gets wet, eventually the water dissipates. Eventually the sun hits that clothing and it stays in the sun, and the sun dissipates the materials. So light eventually is taking light and air. First the air is hitting it and it's taking, and the sun is hitting it and it's taking. Eventually the sun takes all. So air has a similar quality. It's dragging, but it's not taking like the sun. The sun is taking direct over in this world. There's also nurturing in the morning sun. And then in the afternoon it takes, so it can diminish things. We've seen that. You've seen sun can take colors out of things. Like when people put stuff in the windows in shopping centers, they see the color is gone of that thing after a while. They have to change it because the sun will take the color. I remember there used to be stores like the mom and pop stores where they'll keep a Coke bottle there for years, in the front of the showcase, and you'll see that the showcase is yellow. The Coke bottle is yellow. It's not red anymore. So that's how that works. And so here we also understand that the light in general is God. So if we really understand light, the origin of light, the sun and the moon, let's say, so that supreme light is God. Okay? So that's the power in him. Krishna is the power in that. He's explaining all these powerful things in this world. Everything that works is because of him. That's why God is explaining here in Bhagavad Gita. So we can understand this from science now, that light is continuing the process of everything. Everything is manifest through light and because of light. And it also goes to tarnish through light. Light extracting it and then regaining it and giving a new existence, whatever it may be, the energy itself. So light takes back the energy and redistributes it, more or less. That's the speciality of light. It's regenerating and giving off generation. Yeah. So I think we could stop there. If you understand now how this is a key verse, because it explains the Geo Negative Axis process, that it comes from a supreme being, that the light is actually the radiance, the Prabha of the moon and the sun is that supreme being, that conscious personality behind all this. This is not a ghost ship. We're not just riding a boat in this causal ocean of existence that doesn't have, that's a ghost. It doesn't have an existence. No, we can't go to the sun for reasons. We can't go to the moon for reasons, because we're blocked, or whatever it is. Certain entities are blocked. You can't just you can't just go to the sun. Hanuman, who was a great devotee who could fly out of space. This was like in a golden age that they found the remains of the story. He flew up to the sun. He had to fight his way in. He got stopped and everything. He had to. So don't think that you could just jump up into a plane and land on the moon. There's many planets and other things that'll stop you on the way if they want to. So we need to understand that this universe is set with rules. And if we don't go by the rules, and we don't stop and say, hey, we're not going to just make this up anymore, we're going to follow the rules and figure this out, and figure out what's lost science. Because when you figure out what's real, you could find out what's lost. If you don't know what's real, then you can't go anywhere what's lost. And that seems to be the dilemma with not taking GNA. People are not taking GNA, but they don't realize that they're dooming society by not understanding Geo Negative Axis and GNA and everything I'm doing. Because, and some people are trying to take it without giving me credit, which is one of the worst things they could do also, because then it's a condemning process. You're condemning me, condemning my existence and all the people I can help in my immediate life and otherwise. So don't teach GNA that way either. Make sure you give me credit and my constituents and etc. Okay, and that's donation thing. That's only if you haven't paid me yet, you should come give me a donation. But really, you need to pay me the fair thing. In case you're wondering, I understand donations are not. Donations are preferred, right? People like to give out of goodness, but if you can't, then we have to go by the books. Anyway, so now you understand light a little better, hopefully, and I'll see you next time. Take care.